Hello everyone, my name is Ella. Welcome back to another video. I think I'm gonna film my videos in here from now on just because it's comfier for me. I don't have to play around too much with the lighting in my living room because I have my big old window right here in my bedroom. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice. It's nice. I'm just gonna vibe in here. Also, this is probably gonna be the last piece of furniture that I move into my new apartment, so this will just be more convenient. My Universal Yums video though, that I'll keep filming in there because I feel like I need my coffee table for that one, and also that's just kind of the vibe for that one, is sitting on the floor at the coffee table. So anyways, now that I'm done rambling, as promised, this video is going to be about my journey accepting myself in the LGBTQ plus community. I cannot stress this enough. Again, if you are homophobic, if you are someone who doesn't think that gay people should have rights, that they should just be quiet and be happy with what they have, get off my page right now. Get off. I don't care how long you followed me. If you're homophobic in any way, form, or fashion, if it goes against your religion, leave my page. Please. Any comments negating my thoughts, my experiences, my identity will be blocked. Having said that, here we go. So, to really truthfully kind of tell my story, I kind of have to give a little bit of backstory about how I grew up. I was raised Catholic. I went to church through my high school graduation. Once I moved out to go to college on my own, I stopped going. And that was really kind of when doors opened for me, my air conditioning just turned on. I am very sorry. But once I graduated from college, that is where I kind of got out from underneath the thumb of Christianity and Catholicism. Like, that was when I just kind of, to be stereotypical about college, going to college was what really just kind of like opened my mind to different viewpoints and different lifestyles and stuff like that. And that was very much the case for me my first year at school in Oregon. That was the first time I knowingly, I'll say, because I will admit that I have a lot of friends that I went to high school that have now come out as different sexualities, but like I never would have known when I was there in school. So my first year in college in Oregon was the first time that I ever really had anyone that I personally knew that wasn't straight. That was a time when I was highly present on social media platforms like Tumblr, and I met a lot of friends there that were gay or lesbian and didn't have any qualms being who they were, didn't care what other people thought, they were just openly them. And then it was still my first year, but my second semester, the college roommate that I moved in with, because my first roommate was terrible, they were gay. I believe their pronouns are changed now, and I don't want to misgender anyone. So they were the first person that I personally in public knew that was not straight and that was proud about it, and didn't mind telling people about it. And I think for me that was a little bit of a turning point, in a sense that mostly I realized that not everyone was going to be straight. And you may think that's kind of like a childish viewpoint to have, but when you're raised Catholic, you are told repeatedly that being anything other than a man and a woman in a relationship, especially in marriage, if you are not a man and a woman, then what you are doing is wrong. Even if you're a man and a woman and you're dating and you're doing things like sleeping together and stuff like that, you're wrong. And so, I don't know, I can't stress enough how much leaving the church and leaving my family and all of those viewpoints behind really just kind of opened my mind, because I mean, yeah, now I'm like, of course, anyone can be whoever they want to be. They can date whoever they want to be. They can sleep with whoever they want to. Like, of course, that's normal for me. But at the time, it wasn't, because I had been raised to think and to believe that all of that was wrong and that it shouldn't be happening, that it was a sin. So that roommate was really a turning point for me. And it was later that year, 2012, when I was at the DCP, that I had my first questioning of my own sexuality. And in all honesty, it came in the form of me questioning whether or not a character that I liked in Wicked was just because I saw so much of myself in her, or if it was because I was in love with her. And the character was Elphaba. Just full disclosure, there's gonna be a lot of weird crushes and stuff that I might or might not mention in here, but that was the first time, and it was like a Tumblr post that I made, of all places, that I was like, wait, am I in love with Elphaba? And like, that was a big thing for me, because obviously my whole family and everyone that I knew and had been raised with, just didn't talk about being gay or didn't support being gay or anything like that. So it was a lot for me to be questioning that, and luckily enough, I had my roommates who were all very supportive. One was almost a little too supportive. The one that bullied me, actually, like, everyone was kind of like quietly supportive of me, like, through Tumblr. Most of my roommates, we all like followed each other on Tumblr. That was how we found each other. But that roommate, the roommate that bullied me in particular, she brought up the post, like, in person. Like, she came into my room and was like, so you think you're not straight? And I was like, I don't know, like, just being like face head on about it was something that was extremely unsettling. I think I'm gonna have to turn a light on because we have a storm rolling in, and I feel like it just got extremely dark in here. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. But where was I? So I was just faced head on with this roommate, just like questioning me about my own sexuality, and I wasn't sure about my own sexuality, so it was all just a lot. But that was like the first time that I really identified myself as not being straight, as being bisexual. And bisexual was a label that I kept on myself for a very long time. I kept it through my first girlfriend, I kept it through my second girlfriend, and it was, I want to say, around 2016, 2017, right before I moved to Florida, that I decided that I really only liked women. And somewhere in between that point of bisexuality and being a lesbian, I came to the conclusion that not only was I not straight in that sense, but that I am also demisexual. And that is a term that most people do not know. A lot of people credit it as being a Tumblr sexuality and not being a real sexuality at all. But it is. Demisexuality is when you have to know someone for a very long time and you have to trust them. Sometimes it can be months, like you have to know them for a really long time. Sometimes it can be years, dozens of years, before you trust this person enough to decide that you want to have sex with them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that in the meantime you're not dating and you're not married or anything like that, but you may not feel comfortable initiating or having sex with them until you've known them long enough that you have a repertoire with them and you trust them more than anything. So like that would be like for me personally, I want to say that I lean much closer to full asexual, because demisexuality is on the spectrum ranging from asexual to sexual. So demisexuality is on that spectrum, but I want to say that I'm much closer to being asexual than I am to being sexual, just because sometimes, a lot of the times, the idea of sleeping with someone just seems weird to me. Like, even the characters that I am fond of, like Hella or any other female character, Holtzman. Holtzman was like my lesbian gay awakening from Ghostbusters 2016. I don't know if you've seen that movie. I recommend it. I think it's hilarious, and I think all of the men that think it was trash are incorrect. But I've digressed a little bit. So, even like, you know, people have their characters that they have sexual fantasies about and stuff like that. I have never had that. It just doesn't sound interesting to me. It sounds weird to me. Even when I've dated people, I've never really had that kind of like thought process about them. Like, it's never been important to me. But I feel like, you know, if I got to know someone well enough and if I trusted someone well enough, then sure, I'd be willing to try it. But I'm not someone that would go out and like have a one night stand or, you know, date for a few days and then have sex, you know, stuff like that. Not to say anything against people like that. I feel like you should do whatever works best for you. If that's sleeping with someone the night you meet them, if that's sleeping with someone a week after you've known them, if that's sleeping with someone 10 years after you've known them, that is something between you and your partner, and I have no place in that. So I really just feel like people should do what they want, and as long as that makes them happy, then that's all that I care about. So I don't want to say anything against people that are different in their expression of sexuality than I am. Like, I just want to make that as clear as possible. Just because I feel like sex is weird and kind of icky, I don't think that you're weird or that you're icky if you decide that you want to have sex. Like, that's absolutely nothing about it. I just personally, for me, don't think that it's anything that I'm interested in currently. To get back on the subject of my identifying myself as a lesbian, it was right after 2016 Ghostbusters came out, so it was probably either later that year or the next year that I think that I actually like sat down with my mom, and we'd had an argument before I went to visit my first girlfriend, and there had been an argument, and I had just kind of exploded and said that I was bisexual, and my mom had kind of come to terms with it, but I think she was always just kind of thinking that I just hadn't found the right guy yet. And even now, she's still kind of like that. But anyways, so after 2016, after my gay awakening with Holtzman from Ghostbusters 2016, shortly after that, I was in the car with my mom once, and I was like, hey, you know, I only like girls. And she expressed the same kind of thoughts, you know, you just haven't met the right guy yet. And sometimes she's gotten a little bit better about it. Sometimes she'll say partner, at least. If she's talking about me dating or getting married in the future, she'll say partner instead of future husband and stuff like that. But she still won't say future wife. So it's not really all that much of a success in my eyes. And I'll never forget the day that Obama, I don't know that it was specifically Obama that legalized it, but Obama was in presidency when gay marriage became legalized. And I remember the morning that it happened, and I went into her bedroom, and it was on the news, and she goes, oh, well, you'll know all about that already. And I hadn't heard anything about it yet. And we ended up having somewhat of a conversation that ended in her saying, she mentioned my cousin who is gay and has a wife. She mentioned that she's happy for my cousin, but she doesn't think that they should be able to get married. And that is something that sits with me to this day. That was 2015, I think, and it's 2021 now. And I think about it all the time. And it's honestly a fear of mine that if I do ever get lucky enough to find a woman and fall in love with her and get married and have a family, that my mom won't ever be supportive of me. My dad is a whole other issue. I have never personally said anything to him about my sexuality. He was in the room during the argument when I exploded and said that I was bisexual. But that was also in 2015. No, that one wasn't. That was 2012. 2013, early 2013. And he honestly probably didn't even know what that word means. So unless my mom has said something to him, which she probably has, because while it is not her place to discuss what my sexuality is to other people, because you should never out someone else. They need to come out on their own terms. Even if it's mutual friends, you should always let the person that needs to come out on their own. Don't ever tell anyone's sexuality to someone that person doesn't know. It's rude, and you don't know what kind of reaction that you're going to get, and you don't know how that person is then going to treat on the person that you just outed to them. But I don't think, honestly, that my dad knows that I am gay, and I frankly don't know how he will handle it, just because of the type of person that my dad is, because he's, I don't know, not to get off on a tangent entirely, but my dad is the kind of dad who I feel like nothing I ever have done or ever will do will ever make him proud. Like, it'll never be enough for him. So I feel like, I don't know. If he knows, he's never said anything to me personally. If he doesn't know, I'm not particularly jumping to tell him yet, because I mean, it's bad enough with my mom, even with what slight progress she has made, and I don't know. I don't know. And now I'm kind of here in the present. Every so often I kind of question it, like, a little bit, like if I really am a lesbian or if I'm just bisexual that heavily leans toward women. But then I'll think about, the male comfort characters that I have, like Loki or Thor, and like just like any person, like any man, and I'm just like, absolutely not, disgusting, can't even imagine it. So like I'm like 99.99999999999% sure that I am 100% lesbian. And yeah, like I don't know, like I just, Thor does not appreciate what I just said about him. I'm sorry, Thor, you're just not attractive to me. You're a very attractive person, just not to me. Anyways, so yeah, I'm here. As far as being like proud of who I am, I definitely am. Like my friends and everything, I am out to. On my social media accounts, I am out. I talk about it sometimes on Facebook, but Facebook is just not my preferred area of mentioning that I am not straight. I mean, obviously I share posts about, pride and not eating at Chick-fil-A, which also, if you eat at Chick-fil-A, unfollow me, because we do not support companies that want me or other gay or trans people dead. So, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I don't really talk about my sexuality as openly on Facebook as I do. The people that I want to know. I'm not shy about it. If people ask me about it, I answer them. I've had questions multiple times on a lot of different platforms that are asking me, what is demisexuality? How did you know that you were demisexual? And I always answer those questions kind of like, it's just something that you have to know. I can't tell you how you're going to know if you're demisexual or anything like that. Like that's something that you yourself have to decide and have to come to terms with. So yeah, I'm pretty open about it. I wear pride stuff all the time. I own a lot of pride stuff. Sometimes my mom will buy me pride things. Well, not necessarily pride branded things, but she'll buy me rainbow things, and I feel like that kind of counts. But yeah, so I'm like, I feel like I'm out, but I'm not. Like, I'm out where I want to be out, but then in some areas I'm still I'm still halfway in the closet. And I feel like that's just kind of how life as a gay person is, because every new person that you meet is another closet that you have to come out of. Like, you're going to have to constantly tell people that you meet eventually, if you want them to know, that you're not straight. And I don't want to say that it necessarily scares me, because there are a lot of people, if their vibe is right, and if I just feel like I get them, I'll tell them, it'll come up in casual conversation when I meet them, that I'm not straight. But definitely, like, when it comes to, like, workplaces and stuff like that, I don't mention it unless it's, like, brought up, or if someone else mentions something. Like, I have a coworker who's one of my team captains, and he mentions his husband all the time, and I love hearing his stories about him, just because it's nice to have someone in the same profession as you, even if it's not your intended profession, that's like you. And I don't know, it's nice. And on the same kind of subject, I do wish that we just had, like, more representation across media. I know some companies are trying. I know we were going to get a really cool LGBT movie from Blue Sky, I think, the Blue Sky animation company, and then Disney took it over and dissolved the project, which is upsetting, especially now that they're showcasing all of their Pride merch for this year. And it just, like, I don't know, I'm tired. I'm tired of us living in the shadows, or as an afterthought, or as a fetish for people. And I don't know. I want a Disney princess that is openly lesbian and has a girlfriend. I don't want to rely on Elsa. As much as I love and adore Elsa, I don't want to rely on her not having a relationship with any person. Like, I want someone who is openly gay and openly has a girlfriend or a boyfriend if they're a guy. Like, or both. I don't care. Like, I want representation. So, yeah, this conversation has kind of been all over the place. It went in a generally correct timeline order. There was a little bit of skipping back and forth, but that is basically my life out of the closet / half in the closet, my journey being not straight, whatever you want to call it. That's it for me. That's where I am right now. And I'm lucky enough that I have never been in a situation personally where I felt like I am broken, or that I am wrong, or that something is wrong with me, or that I don't deserve to exist because of the person that I am or the people that I love. But unfortunately, a lot of people do feel that way. And I hope that very soon we live in a world where people don't have to be afraid to come out, where they don't have to feel like that they would be better off dead than being queer. I want progress, and I think we're getting there. You're seeing more and more stories every day of people in positions like football player or Congress members that are openly gay or lesbian or trans or all these different non-binary, everything. We're seeing so many people now that just aren't straight and heterosexual, and straight and heterosexual are the same word, that aren't straight or cisgender. And I think that's great. I think we need more of that, though. Like, anyone that says that having more than one X identity isn't realistic has clearly never been around people that are not straight, or that are trans, because from experience, there is never just one of us. There is a whole bunch of us. So start writing us into your stories, start writing us into your movies, your comics, everything, because we exist and we deserve just as much representation as you do. Alright, I could ramble on about this for an hour probably, but I don't want to, because I have to film this and edit this and get it scheduled on YouTube tonight. So that will do it for this video. If you follow me for my regular content, I will be back next Wednesday with my Universal Yums box opening. If you follow me for Marvel, I will be back this Friday with a discussion video about episode 3 of Loki. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and if you would like to be notified of when I post a new video, go ahead and click that little bell icon somewhere down there. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye! Happy Pride!